I said no surprises. Sorry.
How does a man who once slept in his car become one of the most recognizable voices in America? Before the sharp suits, the laughter, and the global fame, there was a man chasing a dream no one believed in. His name was Steve Harvey, and his journey wasn't built on luck, but on pure faith, pain, and persistence. He was broke, homeless, and humiliated, yet somehow he kept telling jokes, believing that laughter could save his life. And one day, it did. From washing up in gas station bathrooms to standing on the grandest stages in entertainment. Harvey's story is not about comedy, it's about survival. It's the story of a man who turned rejection into resilience, and failure into fuel. This is the untold journey of how a boy from West Virginia, armed with nothing but faith and a microphone, rose to become a television king, and in the process, taught millions that no dream is too impossible to chase. Steve Harvey, from homeless to Hollywood legend. Steve Harvey was born on January 17, 1957, in Welch, West Virginia, a small coal mining town buried deep in the Appalachian Mountains. His father, Jesse Harvey, was a coal miner who came home every day covered in dust. His mother, Eloise, was a Sunday school teacher whose faith became the foundation of Steve's entire life. They didn't have much. The Harveys lived in a tiny house with hand-me-down clothes and dreams that always seemed too far away. But what they lacked in money, they made up for in love and faith. As a child, Steve had a severe stutter. Every word felt like a mountain he couldn't climb. He was teased mercilessly by classmates, and teachers often told him he'd never make it in life if he couldn't speak clearly. Yet deep down, the boy with the broken speech carried a secret dream. He wanted to make people laugh. He once told his teacher that he wanted to be on TV. She laughed at him. Decades later, Harvey sent her a brand new television with a note that said, "The kid you said would never make it is on every channel." Growing up black in the segregated South wasn't easy. Racism, poverty, and rejection shaped his early life. But those same hardships also built his faith and his fire. The boy who couldn't speak would one day become the man who spoke to millions. Before the fame, Steve Harvey's life was a long road of rejection, small stages, and endless side jobs. He tried everything to survive, from selling insurance to cleaning carpets and even working as a mailman. But no matter how many jobs he took, something inside him whispered, "You were meant to make people laugh." In the late 1980s, Harvey began performing stand-up comedy at small clubs across the Midwest. The pay was terrible, sometimes just enough for gas money or a sandwich. He often slept in his 1976 Ford Tempo, washing up in gas station bathrooms before going on stage. For 3 long years, that car was his home, but through every hardship, he refused to quit. He once said, "You can't tell God what the journey's supposed to look like." And that faith carried him forward. His first real break came when he landed a spot on Showtime at the Apollo, a stage known for making or breaking comedians. Unlike many before him, Harvey didn't just survive the Apollo crowd, he conquered it. His sharp timing and honesty about life's struggles struck a chord with audiences everywhere. That night, the man who once lived in his car finally had a stage, a spotlight, and a reason to believe that his story was just beginning. After that unforgettable night at the Apollo, Steve Harvey's career ignited like a spark in dry wood. Suddenly, the man who once slept in his car was sharing stages with some of the biggest names in comedy. His charisma, timing, and heartfelt humor made him stand out not just as a comedian, but as a storyteller of real life. By the mid-1990s, Harvey became a headliner in the legendary Kings of Comedy tour, alongside Cedric the Entertainer, D.L. Hughley, and Bernie Mac. The tour broke box office records, grossing over $30 million, and turned 4 stand-ups into national icons. When Spike Lee directed the concert film The Original Kings of Comedy in 2000, Steve's name was cemented in pop culture forever. But comedy was only the beginning. In 1996, he launched The Steve Harvey Show, a sitcom that ran for 6 successful seasons. His on-screen charm and off-screen discipline made him a household name. Soon, he became the face of daytime TV, hosting Family Feud and later Celebrity Family Feud, reviving the franchise with his unique blend of wit, warmth, and unpredictability. Audiences loved his honesty, that Southern drawl mixed with old-school wisdom. He wasn't trying to be perfect. He was being real, and people trusted that. Then came his leap into authorship. In 2009, his book, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man, became a global bestseller. In a wave of relationship talk. Suddenly, Steve Harvey wasn't just a comedian. He was a voice of advice, faith, and survival. From comedy clubs to bookshelves. From morning radio to primetime television. Steve Harvey had done what few ever could. He had turned laughter into a legacy. He was no longer the height of his success when millions tuned in every day to hear his voice. Steve Harvey faced the one thing fame can never protect you from: human error. In December 2015, during the live broadcast of the Miss Universe pageant, the crowd gasped, cameras rolled, and in front of millions watching across the globe, Steve had to walk back on stage, admit his mistake, and apologize in a single moment. Reasons he wanted. Most celebrities would have hidden. But Steve did something different. He owned it. He faced the cameras again and said, "I made a mistake." His personal life had been scrutinized for years. Divorces, family disputes, and every setback I've had has prepared me for something greater. And that belief became his compass. Through the noise, Harvey continued to work, hosting radio, writing books, mentoring because he forgave himself. Following the Miss Universe backlash, he turned embarrassment into evolution. Rather than hide, Harvey doubled down on his purpose. He spoke who saw themselves in his imperfections. He founded Steve Harvey Global, a media company that united his television, radio, and production ventures under one vision to inspire through and building programs that teach leadership, responsibility, and faith to the next generation. Gone was the hustler sleeping in his car. In his place stood a mentor, because every legend has a struggle behind the spotlight.